Hello and welcome to March Bookhaul. I'm doing really good at buying books this year. The thought does occur that maybe I should slow down, but listen, there are so many interesting books that I want the books. Let's start with book series that I'm wanting to get. It's the Witcher series. Still in packaging with that lovely plastic. So I am aware that these might be a little bit problematic to read. I am aware that they are written in the 90s, and the 90s are very different from 2022. It is a very different just culturally and mentally. It's been 30 years. Some of these stories are about 30 years old. So I'm aware of that. I'm aware of that they are apparently rather misogynistic and sexist and feature things that I might not be quite prepared to read about. I don't know. But I still want to read them because I am very curious. I am curious about the world and how these stories actually are. And yeah, but mostly I think my main thing is that the author is Slavic. And I don't recall ever reading any books or stories by a Slavic writer. And to find out that he's Polish in particular, I'm like, yes, I want to read from someone who isn't either Northern European, because that's what I get most of the time, or American or British. Like, nothing wrong with that. It's just I want to expand a little bit and finding what the Slavic authors are writing about. So this may not be the best start. I think it's debatable, but it is a start, and I'm curious about these books, so I got them. Another potentially difficult book. I'm just in the difficult portion of my book interest this month. It is The Long Earth by Terry Pratchett and Stephen Baxter, and I'm very interested in this because I don't know how much part is actually Pratchett. Like I don't really know enough of this story behind this because I haven't really, been that interested in this because I am a Discworld fan. I love the Discworld, and the book that he co-wrote with Neil Gaiman, Good Omens. I like that book, but The Long Earth is science fiction, and I am more of a fancy person. But it's Terry Pratchett, and I want to read it. I am, however, conflicted because there have been, obviously there are reviews, and one of the reviews was very honest, I feel, and basically warned that if you're a Discworld fan, this might be a horrendous shock to the system. Because this is completely different, and it doesn't apparently have the wit of Pratchett. So I'm very hesitant to read this book because it's Pratchett wit that kind of sold me on this, and to then find out that actually it's not really there, potentially, and there are themes explored in this, like in Witcher, that are potentially a little too heavy. Yeah, I still want to try it because it is Terry Pratchett. I've never read anything by Stephen Baxter, so because again, science fiction, I'm a fancy fan. This is the first in a series. I can't remember if it's like 6 books or something. So I'm just gonna start with this and find out whether I can actually read it. So the next 3 books are following a theme. It's a theme of Iceland. I'm gonna keep you for the last because I think you're being like the candy in the bowl. So these 2 are non-fiction, and very, very different. So this is How Iceland Changed the World by Egill Bjarnason. Originally I wasn't gonna buy this because the flavor that I get from this is that it's it is written in a certain mindset that I don't quite agree with. It's a very, I don't want to say non-Icelandic, but it isn't very, how do I explain this? The flavor that I get from this book is that it is exploring the worth of Iceland and the Icelandic nation based on the perceived worth or usefulness seen by others or seen by outside forces, and that is a very pessimistic approach to being, you know, my worth as an Icelander. Like, let's not Kenny this, like, this is my worth as an Icelander according to Egill Bjarnason. I have feelings about this book, not just because it's quite unlike Daggers, written by our current First Lady, Eliza Reid. Eliza C is more looking at the Icelandic nation, particularly Icelandic women, and sees us for our inherent worth and what we are literally bringing to the table, the things that we are doing well, the things that we can do better, but the things that we do well, the things that we do, our worth. Egill Bjarnason, however, seems to be more focused on how useful we are to others. And that annoys me, because our worth is who we are, not what we can do for you to benefit you. But main reason, like, as I said, I wasn't really gonna buy this book. I have feelings about this book now. Because, now I bought this off Amazon, which I know isn't the best, but Amazon is unfortunately pretty much the only book provider that does generally ship to Iceland. And then I mean Amazon UK. Amazon US has issues. So I wasn't gonna buy this book. Like, I thought it was interesting, but probably not something that would benefit me from reading. Like, as I said, this mindset of our worth as perceived from the outside, not actual. It annoys me. It's a mindset that I just detest. There were 2 reviews from previous readers of this book who, you know, bought this book because they thought that there was something, you know, maybe interesting about it, which is why you buy books. They thought this was going to be more like actual worth. Like, about how people have worked with geothermal energies and other things that I couldn't remember what the review said, so I went back to look at it and found that the reviews had been birds. All stars beneath 3 stars, they were birds. Nothing below 3 stars. All reviews below 5 stars, no longer there. I checked, and I should have taken a screenshot of it, because that just, I mean, it sold me the book, which I regret buying, and I regret paying for it. Like, I'm still gonna read it because it, but the fact that they decided to purchase reviews is just, as of filming this, like, I probably should go check and see if there has been another purge or something. But yes, I'm actually planning this one and these 2 for a different video that is actually based on books about the Nordic countries and Iceland in particular, because I am an egocentric Icelander and I need to know what people are talking about us. So there's that, but I'm also planning another video that is all about books that bad reviews have sold me on, and this is an inspiration for that, because the fact that I purged all the bad reviews, when there have been bad reviews that have sold me books, just hope you know this by A. Kendra Greene. The Museum of Whales You Will Never See, Travels Among the Collectors of Iceland. This is so absolutely up my alley. I'm so happy that this book exists and it's not written by Icelander. That sounds bad, but still. This is all about the museums in Iceland. All the small ones, all these, like the museums that I'm used to seeing, because they are everywhere. A lot of them are based on private collections and they're based on memories. They are funded because in one case there was a man who collected a lot of things and he passed away before he could ever make the museum he was dreaming of a reality. So his friends and neighbors, they got together and made the museum. I cannot remember which museum that was because that has happened more than choose. I can speak. That has happened quite a few times in Iceland, but the fact that this book exists and is written by someone who you know, doesn't live here. So that makes me really happy considering the other book. Also the title, The Museum of Whales You Will Never See, because apparently Greene failed to find Húsavík. And I'm really interested to see just how she managed to not find Húsavík. So I'm really looking forward to reading this book and finding out, like, how did you not find it? You traveled all... She was in Reykjavík, she was in Bíldudalur. Like, did she find Húsavík? Did she completely fail to? Like, I love it. Also, just the cover art, just the colors, and like how the lettering, just the watercolor effects. This cover is so gorgeous. Like, honestly, when I compare this cover to this one, I like this one better. This just feels much more like Iceland. This just feels like a clip art show thrown together to be like, I'm Icelandic. This book annoys me. This book enchants me. Speaking of judging a book by its cover, Snug in Iceland by Victoria Walker. It's a really pretty cover. This is a romance. I generally don't read romance because I still haven't found the absolute genre within romance that just enthralls me. But again, I am an egocentric Icelander, and there's a love romance, that came out wrong, a romance written about a character traveling to Iceland and being in Reykjavík and finding potentially love. So that just like, I mean, it's Iceland, so I'm intrigued. I'm intrigued by how Reykjavík is going to be portrayed. And then there's the cover. So it's a pretty cover. It's really, really pretty. At the very least, they got the snow and the northern lights correct. But the tree line, Iceland isn't exactly known for its trees. That's more like Finland, Norway, Germany, and the lovely, gorgeous housing here. That's very European. Icelandic architecture just isn't very European, and that just connects to our history and the fact that we lived in mud hovels until about a century ago. So we don't have a lot of these lovely European houses because we simply couldn't afford them. And yeah, so the cover is about 50% authentic, or, you know, I mean, if you go like this, yes, this is completely Iceland. This is more, I don't know, Helsinki, Oslo, maybe. But it's cute, and I'm kind of looking forward to reading it because, as I said, I'm not really used to reading a romance. But why not? And to the last book that I actually got from the book depository, and I just realized very, very recently that, listen, when I was a child, I watched a lot of Murder Road. We watched it religiously in my household. Because it's good TV. It's good. And my interest has been kept alive by the lovely Pushing Up Roses, because she has a series where she watches Murder Road episodes and talks about them. And somehow, I don't know if it was Pushing Up Roses or if it was something else, but somehow I found out there's a book series. With a lot of books. I think they're on like, they're either on 40 or 50 books so far. So, I mean, if this has a flavor that I like, I do have another. That means there's another series that I might be potentially collecting, other than like the Discworld, because I have a thing about collecting books. This is a very first book, Murder She Wrote, Gin and Daggers, and I do read reviews now. I'm trying to be better about it, and there is apparently, yet again, some, I'm not gonna say unsavory, but like certain mindset that, you know, might not be how to put it. I mean, the review wasn't bad. It just pointed out that there's a certain way of thinking that the characters, you know, have that may not be quite your cup of tea. And for some reason that just tends to be quite a few. Why are there so many books that I'm buying that have warnings of misogyny? Sexism, misogyny. So I'm not sure how much there is, because we all have our different like thresholds of tolerance. That is Murder She Wrote in book format. I'm so looking forward to it. This may have come out first in April 2000. I mean, Murder She Wrote is copyrighted by Universal Studios in 1989, and there are lyrics on page 14. Other copyright in 1936. Copyright renewed 1964, so... But yes, at the very least I got this one, and I've been looking forward to this one, like, absolutely. So yeah, that is all the books I got hit now in March. I feel so happy. But yeah, thank you for watching, and I will see you in another video. Okay, take care. Bless.